Things are moving very fast in Georgia with the criminal trials for the 19 co-defendants that Fani Willis recently indicted. And of course, as I talked about yesterday, last Friday, Mark Meadows was smacked down by a district judge who said that no, you cannot move your case from state court to federal court because you were basically engaged in extracurricular activities, and trying to overturn the election results for Donald Trump does not fall under your official government duties as chief of staff to the president. Well, yesterday, Mark Meadows filed an emergency motion with the very same judge and said, "Judge, you have to stop this. You have to put an immediate stay on this order that you have ruled, not moving me to federal court, so that I can immediately appeal it and ask for an expedited appeal, of course, to the 11th Circuit." Now, typically a motion like this would probably not be addressed for a couple days. But within a few hours of Meadows filing this motion, the judge said, "All right, fine. I am now going to entertain your motion," the judge says. "So I'm giving Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis 24 hours to respond, and then we'll go from there. And I'll determine whether or not to put a stay in place as you appeal this correctly determined decision." Now, the judge didn't call it the correctly determined decision. I'm saying that because, as I talked about yesterday, the judge's ruling was sound. But here's a couple things to know about what's going to happen next. Fani Willis will respond. She will obviously say that no, there should not be a stay in place. He was given his order. He failed to make a compelling argument. He's going to be with the rest of us. So the reason, though, Mark Meadows even wants a stay to begin with is because since he is now, pending appeal, relegated to the state court, if the state court judge issues any kind of ruling pertaining to any of the defendants, it would apply to Mark Meadows. And once we get down that rabbit hole where these motions do affect Mark Meadows, it could be deemed too late at that point for him to move his case to federal court, even if he wins on appeal. So that's why he's saying, "Judge, you got to protect me from any motions coming from the judge while I appeal this thing to the 11th Circuit." It's all very stupid, and it underscores a bigger point here. The appellate system, and we have seen this from Donald Trump and all of his allies, is absolutely being abused here in the United States. The appellate courts are not there just because you got pissed off because the courts didn't rule in your favor. You're only supposed to be appealing a decision when you believe and may have evidence to support that this decision by the lower courts was made incorrectly, or that there was some kind of impropriety taking place in the lower court trial that the appellate court needs to rule on and either send it back down or overturn whatever the lower court said. Meadows doesn't have any of those things. Meadows is just hurt that he didn't win. So he's going to go to the appellate court, the 11th Circuit, where he says he's going to ask for an expedited trial or hearing, and he's going to get the same ruling because he's going to make the same arguments because he doesn't have an argument. And he's doing all of this to delay, which is why I am glad that the judge just immediately turned around and said, "Okay, fine, Fani Willis, 24 hours. Let's get this going. Let's get this guy out." They're not wasting any time. And that's another thing that, by the way, works against Mark Meadows and all of the other co-defendants. They want this thing to be delayed as long as possible, but the prosecutor, the judges in this case, they're not letting it happen. Okay, you want to challenge us? Come to court tomorrow. We're going to challenge this. But we're not going to let you eat up the entire calendar with motions and things designed to delay this case. You got a problem? I will deal with it within the next 24 hours, and then that problem will be over with. And that isn't going to work out well for Mark Meadows or Donald Trump or any of the 17 other people being put on trial here. Ring of Fire has fresh content 7 days a week, so if you want to be reminded about it, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the little bell to be notified every time a new video goes up.